The following program contains incessant calls to battle with the unsavory. If you suffer from squeaky clean-handedness, Randall might not be right for you. Check with your local Pharisee.
Son of man, great I am, Holy Lamb of God is He, Prince of Peace, King of Kings, risen with healing in His wings.
Standing for truth in the four corners of America. Fighting for justice on the frontiers of the culture wars. And turning resistance into an art form. Randall Terry.
Hello, friend. As you know, President Obama has addressed the nation on Syria, telling us to hurry up and do nothing. Well, we're going to dissect that speech for you on today's program. I'll be honest, I'd rather dissect a dead frog in an 8th grade science class than the nonsense than the blather we had to listen to. But this is the hand that was dealt to us. Please, Granny, give us some demonic word of wisdom.
It's time now for Down Home with Granny Jihad.
Allah Takrapa! Children, more teaching from Muhammad. A man once came to Muhammad and said, "Instruct me as to such a deed as equals jihad in reward." He replied, "I do not find such a deed." In other words, jihad give greater reward than helping lady cross the street. So, leave old lady alone and go, run, get your sword.
Hello, friend. Welcome to the program. As you probably know, President Obama made his pitch to the American people on live television on Tuesday night, September the 10th, asking us to do, we're not sure. Now, G.K. Chesterton, who is one of my literary heroes, said that which is ridiculous deserves to be ridiculed. And I am going to try and keep an even keel today as I analyze certain portions of Obama's speech. But if I slip just a little bit into ridiculing the ridiculous, I ask you to please join me in a small chuckle over the irony, or perhaps the folly, or even some of the offensive nature of what Obama said in his speech. We're going to play some clips for you. We'll start with the game changer, okay? Lane, play it.
I have therefore asked the leaders of Congress to postpone a vote to authorize the use of force while we pursue this diplomatic path. I'm sending Secretary of State John Kerry to meet his Russian counterpart on Thursday, and I will continue my own discussions with President Putin. I've spoken to the leaders of two of our closest allies, France and the United Kingdom, and we will work together in consultation with Russia and China to put forward a resolution at the UN Security Council requiring Assad to give up his chemical weapons and to ultimately destroy them under international control.
Well, there you have it. I'm having this television broadcast to tell you that I've asked Congress to postpone the vote. Excuse me? We've been beating the wars of drums. We've been saying that we're going to go. And before I go, I want to ask Congress for their approval. And now, no, don't vote, guys. Well, there's two issues at play here. Number one, the president knew that he was going to lose in the House, and perhaps lose big, all right? And originally, they thought that they were probably going to win the Senate, and then, as they began to talk with people behind the scenes, they realized, we're in trouble even in the Senate. this would spell a massive embarrassment for the president. What I've heard, I don't know if it's true or not, but that the calls coming in to the members of Congress are 100-1 against intervention. And these members of the House and Senate are not willing to walk the plank for Obama to use military force in a nation where no one has clearly defined what our national security interests even are. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Now, he then does a little bait and switch and says, I've spoken with the leaders of our friends in France and the United Kingdom, and we're talking with China and we're talking with Russia. Well, in case you did not remember, the 5 permanent members of the Security Council are America, Russia, China, England, and France, okay? So for any UN resolution to pass, it requires a unanimous decision from those 5, okay? One nation, any one of the 5, can veto a resolution. So Obama is saying, we're going to try and get a UN resolution passed that requires Syria to tell us where their chemical weapons are, and then to give them up, and then we're going to destroy them. Hark! I think I hear the echo of Iraq. Does anyone remember that before we went into Iraq, Iraq 2, the UN said, let the UN inspectors come in, we want to look at your facilities, we want to see what WMD you possess, blah, blah, blah. And it dragged on for month after month after month after month. Well, what Obama just did was he basically said in that speech, we're not going to shoot rockets. I've asked Congress to vote, all right? So I've asked them to postpone the vote, which means he's not going in because he said, I'm not going to go in without congressional approval. So that for sure means we're just not going to bomb them. But secondly, he has said, I'm going to the other members of the UN Security Council and asking them, please, let's go after Syria. Let's shake them by the throat. Friends, this is going to be in slow motion. This could be 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. Basically, what we just saw was Obama say, okay, I get it. I'm not supposed to hurl missiles into Syria. But for the point of looking at other political, ideological, geopolitical issues at stake, when we come back, we'll play some more of his clips, remembering the words of G.K. Chesterton.
A red line for us is we start seeing a whole bunch of chemical weapons moving around or being utilized. I didn't set a red line. The world set a red line. Congress set a red line. My credibility is not on the line. The international community's credibility is on the line.
Every day in America, over 3,500 babies are torn apart by abortion. Shouldn't all babies, like this living, unborn child, have the right to life? Baby killing will only end when Americans see the truth of what abortion does to innocent children. You can help end this Holocaust by showing the truth of abortion in your area with a Face the Truth tour. Go to facethetruthamerica.com to set up a Face the Truth tour in your area. The babies and their mothers will be eternally grateful. How would you like to be able to reach hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of potential customers with your product or your company or your web-based business? Well, you can do that right here on this show. Every single day, we get phone calls or letters or orders online from states all over the country where people are watching this television show. Right now, we are seen in 45 cities at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time every night, and then a rerun again at 12:30 midnight. You can reach them using this show at advertising rates that are so inexpensive, it would blow your mind. So, if you're interested, contact us at the phone number that you see on the screen or the email address, and we can talk about how you can grow your business and help support this show. Welcome back to the program, friend. I have been urged by some of my colleagues to contact the president and offer my services. I have a master's degree from a military university in diplomacy and international terrorism, and clearly the people who wrote this speech and who are helping him develop his policy are at least slightly clueless. Let's play a couple of clips, and Lane will talk about it. Play clip 1, please.
The majority of the Syrian people and the Syrian opposition we work with just want to live in peace, with dignity and freedom. And the day after any military action, we would redouble our efforts to achieve a political solution that strengthens those who reject the forces of tyranny and extremism.
All right, let's analyze. Number one, the majority of the Syrian people, they want freedom and they want peace. And then the people we're working with do as well. No, not so much. Maybe most of the Syrian people want peace. We don't know that they want freedom. We have no idea. They might want Sharia law, okay? That's not freedom. And the people that are in the freedom fighters, al-Nusra, members of Al-Qaeda, the Muslim Brotherhood, various Islamic terrorist groups who are Sunni Muslims, they don't want freedom and human dignity as we understand it. This whole thing was a farce. And then he said, we're going to redouble our efforts for a political solution to work with those who reject tyranny and who reject extremism. Well, to do that, Mr. President, you'd have to work with people that reject Islam, okay? Because Islam, by definition, is a tyrannical worldview that enslaves people, all right? It is extremism to the nth degree. The obliteration of churches, the making it a criminal act to preach the gospel. I mean, go down the list, people. This was farcical, and it would be funny if it wasn't so deadly. All right, let's play another clip.
Indeed, I'd ask every member of Congress and those of you watching at home tonight to view those videos of the attack, and then ask, what kind of world will we live in if the United States of America sees a dictator brazenly violate international law with poison gas, and we choose to look the other way?
So, we're supposed to ask ourselves this deep, soul-searching question. Watch the videos of what is happening in China and in Saudi Arabia, and ask yourself, do we want to live in a world like that if we look the other way? No, wait, I'm sorry, wrong country. It's not China and Saudi Arabia, it's Syria. Right, we look the other way all the time, people. The U.S. government makes its living looking the other way. Okay, we've granted China most favored nation status, right? They break into churches all the time. They have executed and imprisoned Christians. They have forced abortion. And yet we reward that behavior. We look the other way by giving them most favored nation status. Or Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia runs a slave state. It's illegal in Saudi Arabia to even have a church, okay? Just let that sink in on you. And Saudi Arabia is the #1 funder of terrorism in the world. We'll get back to that in a minute. And we look the other way. So his challenge to us to watch and to think, do we want to live in a world like that where we look the other way? Mr. Obama, your presidency has looked the other way. You looked the other way while babies were dying in Illinois hospitals, okay? You made it a part of your agenda to look the other way while innocent babies were being killed. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, more footage from the Obama debacle, the Obama speech, and some prescient comments. I like the word prescient. Have you ever heard that word? Prescient. Do you want to have knowledge, wisdom, discernment? If so, you have to read good books, theology, history, books that look at the lives of great men and women. So to help you to become a more effective Christian, a better witness for truth, somebody who can engage in productive conversation that exhorts and edifies those that you speak with, we're going to do something crazy. We're offering you these 7 books for a gift of any size. You just pay for the shipping and handling, and then give whatever gift that you can, and we will send them to you. But just to make it a little bit more crazy, I will send you a second copy of my 3 books, autographed. You can give them as a gift to your pastor or to a family member and help extend truth and justice in the world. This is while supplies last. Welcome back to the program, friend. If you're Barack Obama and you're losing your Democratic base, what do? Invoke the dead. Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Yes, go to the heart and soul of the statist Democratic Party, Franklin himself. Lane, play the clip.
Franklin Roosevelt once said, "Our national determination to keep free of foreign wars and foreign entanglements cannot prevent us from feeling deep concern when ideals and principles that we have cherished are challenged." Our ideals and principles, as well as our national security, are at stake in Syria.
Well, there you have it. Now, let me point something out. I have deep feelings. I have deep concerns about the things that are happening to the people in Syria. Nobody can see the footage and not be horrified, okay? So yes, our ideals, our love of freedom, human dignity, our ideals and our principles are under attack in Syria. But then he does a bait and switch. And he says, our ideals, our principles, and our national security is at stake in Syria? Whoa, 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 whoa. Syria can't do us much harm. I mean, they might be able to sink a ship like the USS Cole, what the stuff that Al-Qaeda did, but how can Syria threaten our national security any more than 30 nations ahead of them in line? Okay? This was bait and switch. Now, I'm going to go a step further. If you really want to see where our ideals and our principles and our national security are under attack, look at Saudi Arabia, okay? Did you know that the #1 funder of terrorism in the world is Saudi Arabia? And how do they fund terrorism? At American gas pumps. Yeah, every time we fill up our car, a little bit of that money goes, actually a substantial amount of that money goes to Saudi Arabia. And some of that money is then dispersed, hundreds of millions of dollars a year, to various Islamic Sunni terrorist groups. We know it. The Saudis know it. Now, that's a real threat to our national security. But we're not going to war with Saudi Arabia. We're not punishing them for what they're doing. This is a farce. All right, let's roll one more. We got time? Let's roll one more time. Okay.
My fellow Americans, for nearly 7 decades, the United States has been the anchor of global security. This has meant doing more than forging international agreements. It has meant enforcing them. The burdens of leadership are often heavy, but the world's a better place because we have borne them. And so, to my friends on the right, I ask you to reconcile your commitment to America's military might with a failure to act when a cause is so plainly just. To my friends on the left, I ask you to reconcile your belief in freedom and dignity for all people with those images of children writhing in pain and going still on a cold hospital floor.
All right, here President Obama said, we're the world's policemen. All right, for 7 decades we've been the anchor of global security, but we also have to be the enforcer. He needed to do the Arnold Schwarzenegger voice at that point. I've come back. I'm going to enforce our ideals. Now, the president then played to the Republicans and said, hey, you guys who are the war hawks, you warmongers, why aren't you coming to bat with me? Let's go and kick some Syrian booty. And you Democrats who love liberty and personal dignity, and the Republicans, we all know they hate personal dignity and they hate freedom. They're warmongers. But you Democrats are the soft, cute and cuddly type. You need to look at the pictures of dead babies and say, come on, let's join hands with the warmongers. Warmongers and cushy freedom lovers, together we can unite and bomb the hell out of Syria. Yeah. Senator Obama, by you invoking the babies like you did there at the end, writhing on the hospital floor, I think that we need to take a look in the next segment about babies writhing on the floor and the ones that you insisted die. Not in Syria, here in America. Do you want to get America out of the hands of wicked and unjust men and women who are destroying the republic before our eyes, and put leadership back into the hands of righteous men and women so that we don't die as a nation? Well, you're talking about social revolution, and there are rules in social revolution. We can look at the victorious social revolutions of the past, such as the end of slavery, the end of child labor, women's voting rights, the end of segregation, and so much more, and learn from their victories. Look at their actions, their images, their rhetoric, their sacrifices, and their final fruit. We will send you this series that originally cost $129, 7 books for students, 1 teacher's guide, if you'll give a gift of any size and just pay for shipping and handling. Take advantage of it today. The last stand of cowards, children. Now, it's also the first line of duty for a devout Christian. True religion and undefiled before God the Father is this: to help widows and orphans in their distress, the widow and the fatherless, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. It is our duty to protect the fatherless. So, you have a place in the human heart where the wicked and the righteous can both meet: the defense of children. Wait a minute, didn't Saddam Hussein do that? Didn't Saddam surround himself with children? Remember the pictures? If you bomb this place or you bomb that place, you might get me, but you're going to get all these children too. And so, Lane, go ahead and play the clip. Obama playing the children card. I felt repulsed.
Including hundreds of children. The images from this massacre are sickening. Men, women, children lying in rows, killed by poison gas. Others foaming at the mouth, gasping for breath. A father clutching his dead children, imploring them to get up and walk. The question now is what the United States of America and the international community is prepared to do about it. Because what happened to those people, to those children, is not only a violation of international law, it's also a danger to our security. I ask you to reconcile your belief in freedom and dignity for all people with those images of children writhing in pain and going still on a cold hospital floor. But when, with modest effort and risk, we can stop children from being gassed to death and thereby make our own children safer over the long run, I believe we should act.
There you have it. The children, the children, the children. And I couldn't help. And by the way, if you've got small children in the room right now, I suggest you tell them to leave, all right? Because we're going to take just a few moments and show some of the horrific images of the children in Syria and the children in America. You see, Obama is making a legitimate case that if it's possible, we should defend children. But Obama, as Senator Obama, State Senator Obama in Illinois, had the blood of children dripping from his hands. He decried children on a cold hospital floor. But when the Born Alive Infant Protection Act, which said, hey, look, if a baby survives an abortion, we've got to save that baby's life, Obama said, no. Let the baby die and writhe on a cold hospital floor, or in a bucket or a broom closet, whatever. So the hypocrisy here is disgusting. It's vile. And to follow his logic just a little bit further, he's saying because of what's happening to the children, we should bomb Syria. Well, Mr. Obama, are you inviting people to bomb America? As a nation, we're killing 1.2, 1.1, 1.3 million babies every year, okay? Under your watchful eye, 3,000 plus babies are dying every single day, all right? And you insist that they be left on the cold hospital floor to die. So are you therefore inviting people to wreak havoc on us, to make war on us because we're letting babies die? You hypocrite? You killer of babies? God save us from this tyrant, friends.